For decades, one of the great debates of combat culture has lingered. Was Bruce Lee merely a screen legend, cinematic lightning in torn pants and bamboo forests? Or was he in truth something far more than that? A fighter, a philosopher warrior, a precursor to modern martial arts. Across time and continents, his movies, his voice, his stance haunted the imaginations of millions. And yet, for all that mythic presence, the question remained. Was he real? Did he walk among the fighters of substance, those who made men fall unconscious, who forced adversaries to submit, who felt the rawness of combat at its edges? Enter Mike Tyson, once called the most feared man on the planet. A heavyweight champion who stalked opponents with ferocity and earned his legend through the hum of trading blows, the crack of leather, and the hush of a crowd awaiting the crash. Now, at 58, Tyson breaks his silence. He issues a revelation that will change the way many of us think about both Lee and himself. He calls Lee not just a martial artist, but something far more dangerous. A philosopher whose lethal mindset shaped the mind of a boxer meant to dominate. This is the story of how lightning met brick. How the myth of a tiny dragon informed the rage of Iron Mike. And how, at a moment of truth, the silence was broken and the world was stunned. The year is 1973. Bruce Lee stands atop the world of martial arts cinema. The Enter the Dragon is about to premiere, and with it, a symbol of East meets West, speed meets power, transcendence meets spectacle. Lee's body may have been compact, his weight modest, but his ambition was mountain high, his ideas deeper than fists. He created Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist, not simply a system of kicks and punches, but a philosophy of adaptation and freedom. He said, "Be water, my friend. Flow like water. Adapt to the shape of your container. Respond, don't react. See the opponent. Feel the opening." Meanwhile, in Brooklyn, New York, a boy named Mike enters his teenage years. He's born into hardship, into the crucible of streets where survival is a daily lesson. Boxing becomes his lifeline. He rises. At 20, he becomes the youngest heavyweight champion in history. He fights with a kind of visceral urgency. He lashes out, he conquers. Many call him raw, many call him a savage. But in the ring, he shows a method. Power harnessed by fear, fear harnessed by will. In the same era, Bruce Lee's passing in 1973 cast a long shadow. He had died too early, at the age of 32, but the symbol he left behind kept burning. On the one hand, film-goers saw choreography, a body moving faster than the eye. On the other, the martial arts community argued, did Lee ever test himself the way boxers did? Was he more actor than fighter? For fans, the debate continued. Was he real, or was he myth? Years roll by. Tyson fights, wins, dominates. He becomes a global phenomenon. But inside, the champion wrestles with something more than opponents. Identity, fear, transcendence. He reads, he studies, he fights ghosts. One day a video reaches him, a fading film clip of Bruce Lee speaking on philosophy and combat. There's a phrase Lee uses. The fight is not against the other man. The fight is against the barrier inside yourself. Tyson watches. And for the first time he recognizes something, not choreography, not legend, a warrior's blueprint. He later says, Bruce Lee had an awesome philosophy on life. It blew me away. Bruce Lee was a killer. He likes to fight for real. Ain't no drama. He likes to do it for real. Tyson's voice trembles just a little when he says the next part. You've got to have respect for the philosophy. That philosophy is the ultimate warrior philosophy. It is here, at the intersection of machines and meaning, that Tyson allows himself to see Lee in a different light. A light that isn't about movies or illusions, but about mindset. About what it means to break down self-limits, to use fear as fuel, to turn your body into instrument and your mind into the conductor. Tyson begins to integrate the philosophy, lightning reflexes, yes, but backed by stillness. Rage, yes, but framed by purpose. He begins the process of reforging his image not just as a puncher, but as a thinker in motion. Meanwhile, the commentators still debate, was Lee a fighter in the ring of steel or just on celluloid? Tyson's affirmation shifts the debate. Here's the heart of it. Tyson, the man who once bit an ear, who once smashed through defenses like they were glass. And Lee, the man who said, "Be like water," who moved in belief, not bruising spectacle. Two paths, one logic, mastery of self. In Tyson's recounting, it isn't the size difference or the knockout punch that defines the story. It's the mindset. He claims he learned from Lee that the true fight is internal, the part where you believe that you can, therefore you will. That the real opponent is the hesitation, the doubt, the self-consciousness. And when Tyson says Bruce Lee was a street fighter, he doesn't mean he got title belts. He means the kind of fighter who fights everything, including his own limits. A fighter whose arena is life itself. In the ring of Tyson's tenure, you can sense the shadow of that philosophy. Speed with purpose, power with precision, aggression with calculation. He wasn't just breaking opponents, he was breaking old definitions of self. And that, he realizes, was Lee's gift to him. There is a moment Tyson describes. After a win in the locker room, he sits with the cup of sweat and blood and adrenaline, and instead of exulting, instead of roaring, he thinks, what next? That question, he says, he borrowed from Lee. Because the answer to what next is what separates fighters from legends. From men who simply knock others out to men who knock out themselves, of doubt, of fear, of complacency. The conflict here is deeper than who hits harder. It is, does legacy come from destruction or transformation? Tyson, at this turning point, chooses the latter. Lee, from beyond the grave, becomes his teacher. And for fans of Lee, this is transformative. Tyson's revelation rewrites the narrative. Lee wasn't just cinematic flair, he was a blueprint. And Tyson concedes. His fearsome fists were shaped in part by the silent dragon who moved through thought. So where does this leave us? The debate over who was the more dangerous fighter is finally sidestepped. Because Tyson isn't saying, Lee would beat me. He's saying, Lee taught me something about being dangerous, about mind, body, and spirit that I carried into the ring. Lee's true arena was not the ring, but the working on yourself that precedes any fight. And Tyson's arena was the ring, but also the remaking of a broken boy into a champion. Their conjunction becomes a story of transformation. For martial artists, for boxers, for anyone who looks at legend and wonders, how much is theater and how much is truth? This is a lesson. Iron Mike Tyson says yes, there is truth behind the myth. Lee's philosophy wasn't just wallpaper for film clips. It was something Tyson mined, in darkness and dawn, to become more than a puncher, to become a vessel of meaning. And for fans of Bruce Lee, this act of revelation, this acknowledgement by a man who fought for real, who won for real, is a validation. The man in yellow pants, the actor turned icon, stands not only in front of cameras, but in front of a heavy bag of meaning. His legacy is not just fast kicks, but fast insight, not just fists, but faith. And for Tyson, he doesn't end this story with glory. He ends it with reflection. He says, the fight still goes on. Inside me, inside you. The real opponent is fear. The real victory is freedom. In a world obsessed with the spectacle of violence, with the roar of crowds and the flash of cameras, there lies beneath it a quieter truth, the contest within. Two men, separated by generation, geography, and method, yet joined by a deeper bond, the quest to transcend. Bruce Lee, the lightning-fast philosopher warrior whose body spoke as loudly as his words. Mike Tyson, the heavyweight boxer once feared, now reflective, who discovered in that lightning a strike to his own soul. When Tyson breaks the silence and says, Bruce Lee was a killer, a street fighter, and his philosophy is the ultimate warrior philosophy. He isn't simply complimenting a legend. He is stating a truth about himself, and by extension, about all of us. What we thought we knew changes, not because myths are shattered, but because they are revealed deeper. We see not just the body in motion, but the mind in motion. We see not just the fists that fell, but the thoughts that rose. And as the lights fade, we are left to ask, when the crowd is gone, the gloves are hung and the screens go blank, what remains? Perhaps it is simply this, the fight for meaning, the fight for self, the fight to be more than what the world expects. In the end, maybe the greatest knockout isn't the one landed on another man's chin. Maybe it is the one landed on your own doubt. And so we close on these two names, Lee and Tyson, not as beasts in combat, but as brothers in struggle. Between them, a lesson. that the real art of fighting is the art of becoming.